Hello everyone, today's topic of tutorial is cataract surgery techniques. There are generally two types of techniques. First is intracapsular cataract extraction, second is extracapsular cataract extraction. So intracapsular extraction, also known as ICC, means there is entire cataract lens along with the capsule is removed, and in ECC, major portion of the capsule, nucleus cortex are removed and posterior capsule is left behind. So you can put intraocular lens in ECC. So ECC is of three types. First is conventional ECC, then small incision cataract surgery, and third is phacoemulsion. So this diagram shows the difference between the ICC and ECC. So first diagram shows the removal of the entire lens with the capsule. Second diagram, you can see the posterior capsule is left behind, only cataract lens, nucleus and cortex is removed. So before going to the techniques of the cataract surgery, we should know the indications of the cataract surgery. So first most important indication is visually improved. It depends on the individual needs and occupation of the patient. So some patients with old patients and housewives, they can tolerate the more degree of visual loss, but patients like pilots or drivers, they cannot tolerate the early cataract also. So they needs the immediate treatment and surgery. Then medical indications. These are the indications where cataract surgery is needed to control the intraocular pressure in case of lens-induced glaucoma. Then in case of retinal diseases like diabetic retinopathy, we need to visualize the posterior segment or retina. So in that case, we have to remove the cataract. Then another is phacoencephalopathy endophthalmitis. This is the inflammation of the inner structure of the eyeball due to the rupture of the lens and production of the lens matter or lens fragments. Then third is cosmetic indication. Here visual prognosis is poor, but to improve the cosmesis, cataract is removed. Then what are the preoperative evaluation done in cataract? If we diagnose the case of cataract, we should do the thorough general medical examination of the patient to rule out any systemic disease. This is for the general fitness of the patient. Then we have to rule out any source of infection in the body. Case of example is septic gums or urinary tract infection or any respiratory infection that should be ruled. Then basic investigations we do is blood sugar level, then complete blood count and urine routine microscope. So these are the basic investigations. We can go for the echocardiogram, that ECG if patient is having any heart problem, or chest X-ray if patient is having any respiratory problem. Then detailed ocular examination should be done. First is visual assessment. So it is done by Snellen chart. If patient is not able to see the Snellen chart, then we will look for the counting fingers. Then if it is not possible, then we go for the perception of light in case of mature or advanced cataract. Then projection of rays are checked in for cortex. So this is the crude method to check the retinal function. Then recent advanced assessment like potential visual acuity meter. It is the laser interferometry which can give the visual acuity which can be gained after cataract surgery. Then second most important is pupillary reaction to rule out any abnormal pupillary reaction. If there is any lesion to the optic nerve or pupillary pathway which can be detected by the pupillary reaction. Then anterior segment evaluation by slit lamp eye microscope. It should be done to know the exact cataract morphology and grade of cataract. Also to look for any local source of infection like conjunctivitis or blepharitis or dicrocystinitis. Then intraocular pressure measurement should be done to rule out the glaucoma. If it is more, so we should start the anti-glaucoma treatment and then we go for the surgery. Then most important, sac syringing. It is done to rule out the blockage in the lacrimal applets, generally seen in chronic dacryocystitis. So this is the local source of infection that should be treated first, and then we should go for the cataract because it can lead to the serious infection like endophthalmitis. Then fundus examination. Detailed fundus examination should be done to rule out any pathology in the retina. If fundoscopy is not possible due to the dense cataract, then we should go for the ultrasonography, that is B scan of the posterior segment. Then most importantly, intraocular power calculation. So this should be done before the surgery because we have to put the artificial lens. The power of that lens is determined by the keratometry and A scan. Keratometry means measurement of the corneal curvature. A scan means the measurement of the actual length of the eyeball. Then for eyeball power calculation, generally SRK formula is used. That is Sanders, Redzak and Kraft formula. It states that the power of the intraocular lens is equal to the A minus 2.5 L minus 0.90, where A means the constant, which is important for the type of lens and design of the lens. Then L means actual length of the eyeball in millimeters. And K means the average corneal curvature of the cornea. Then what is preoperative preparation? So first we have to take the written informed consent of the patient in his own language. And our patient is asked to take the proper scrub bath in the morning of the surgery. Then proper marking of the eye is done. Then we should provide the preoperative antibiotics to the patient, which is started 1 day prior to the surgery. Generally we use third generation fluoroquinolones like moxicloxacin or paclitaxel. Also before the surgery we paint the eye with the povidone iodine 10% solution. This causes disinfection. Then if IOP is more, we should use the IOP lowering agents like acetazolamide or topical anti-glaucoma drugs. Then before the surgery, most important is we have to dilate the pupil. That is, topical mydriasis is done. It is done by the topical eye drops containing tropicamide and phenylephrine. Also, we use the topical anesthetic like flurbiprofen to maintain the mydriasis. Regarding the general anesthesia, we generally prefer local anesthesia, but general anesthesia is done in cases like pediatric cases or any mental retarded patients which are uncooperative for the local anesthesia. So nowadays topical anesthesia is also preferred for echo anesthesia. So for local anesthesia we should achieve the anesthesia with loss of sensation, analgesia means loss of pain, and akanesia means loss of eye movements. So it can be given by three types. First is perivalvular block, second retrovalvular block or facial. So nowadays facial block and retrovalvular block is now used. We are using perivalvular block. Now we go for the steps of the different techniques. First ICCE, it is obsolete nowadays. It is done in very rare cases. So we will go for the conventional ECCE first. Then it is the extracapsular cataract extraction. So first, after local anesthesia, povidone iodine painting and draping of the eyeball is done. Then wire speculum is inserted to separate the eyelids. Then after that, superior rectus bridle surgery is taken so as to fix the eyeball in down gaze position. Also, it helps in the delivery of the nucleus. The conjunctival flap is made from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock position. After the raising the conjunctival flap, hemostasis, that is stoppage of the bleeding by done by cautery. Then after the cautery, partial thickness groove or gutter done at the superior limbus, that is from 10 to 2 o'clock. So incision size is around 10 to 12 mm. Then entry is done with the help of keratome and viscoelastic is injected. Then anterior capsulotomy is generally done, so which is by can opener technique. So it is technique with which anterior capsulotomy is done. We give the small nicks peripherally and then join all together to make the opening in the anterior capsule. So another technique also known as envelope or linear capsule. For ECC, these two techniques were used. Then after the CCC or capsulotomy, due to the completion of the corneoscleral incision with the help of corneoscleral scissor or kerato. Then hydrodissection, that is separation of the corticonuclear mass from the capsule, is done by the injecting the ASS under the capsule. Then once capsule is separated, it is rotated and delivered out with the help of the counter pressure technique or irrigating wire vectors technique. Then after removal of the nucleus, aspiration of the cortex is done by the two-way irrigation canal. Once the cortex is removed, you put the viscoelastic substance in the capsular bag and implant the rigid IOL. Then after implanting the IOL, closure of the wound is done after removing the viscoelastic substance. Then conjunctival flap is reversed with black and subconjunctival injection of dexamethasone and gentamicin is given. It is given dexamethasone because it reduces the inflammation and gentamicin causes antibiotic trouble to reduce the infection. Then patching of the eye is done. This is the diagrammatic representation of the PCC surgery. After making the conjunctival flap and entry in the anterior chamber, this scan of the capsulotomy is done. After removing the part of the anterior capsule, then incision is extended with the help of corneoscleral scissor. Then after hydrodissection, nucleus is removed and then the remaining cortex is removed with the help of two-way irrigation canal. Then rigid intraocular is put. Lastly, sutures are taken to close the wound. Then we go for the SIC, that is small incision pattern. So initial steps are same, like local anesthesia, venting, and draping of the eye, and wire speculum is inserted and superior rectus. So after taking the superior rectus middle suture, conjunctival flap is made. Here it is made from 11 to 1 so size of the flap is less. Then hemostasis is actually. The most important is here we do the incision over the sclera, and which is of 5.5 to 6.5 mm in size. Then three planar cordless scleral incision is made with the help of mesoneer. So this is the self-sealing incision. It does not require the suture for the sealing. Then after the tunnel, to do the entry with the sharp kerato in the anterior chamber. Then side ports are made at the 9 o'clock. Then viscoelastic substance is injected and capsulotomy. So it can be done like cannula or envelope technique, but more commonly we do the continuous curvilinear capsular access. So it is more controlled and sustain the more pressure. After that, hydrodissection and nucleus management is done. So in nucleus management, first nucleus is prolapsed in the AC by rotating. Then delivered by various techniques to the sclerocorneal gland. So techniques used are visco expression, that is the pressure of the visco injected into the anterior chamber. Nucleus is delivered. And another is pleumental technique, where one AC maintainer is used, which causes irrigation of the anterior chamber, and plastic glide is used to guide the nucleus to deliver from the tunnel. Then another technique is irrigating wire vectors technique, where the vectis is connected to the irrigating fluid and nucleus is engaged into the vectis and removed from the tunnel. Then aspiration of the cortex is done by the two-way irrigation aspiration camera. Then rigid intraocular lens is implanted. After that, viscoelastic substance is removed, and then AC is filled with the BSS and self-sealing of the and similarly, conjunctival flap is required and subconjunctival injection is given and patching of the AC. So these are the steps of the SSS. First, you can see the superior rectus breathing switch of the conjunctival flap, then the scleral incision. After that, sclerocorneal tunnel is made, then entry into the anterior chamber. And here you can see the side port entry at the 9 o'clock. Then CCC is done. It's continuous curvature capsules. And hydrodissection and prolapse of the nucleus in the anterior chamber. Then nucleus is removed from the tunnel. Then cortex is removed to take the two ways the irrigation aspiration can be. Then rigid intraocular lens is implanted and dialed in the back. Then wound is closed by the hydration and there is no need of any suture. Then third technique of ECC is equivalence. This is the most advanced technique. So it requires very small instrument, that is 2.8 to 2.2 mm, which is done at the limbus or in the cornea, clear cornea. After making the incision, side port entry is made at 9 o'clock. Then CCC, is continuous curvature capsule lens is done. In this case, hydrodissection and hydrodelineation both are done. As we know, hydrodissection means the separation of the cortical nucleus from the capsule. Hydrodelineation means the separation of the nucleus from cortex. So, nucleus is then emulsified with the help of the echoemulsification. So, it has hollow 1 mm titanium needle which vibrates by piezoelectric crystals and emulsifies the nucleus and which is then aspirated. So there are various techniques of the echoemulsification. First is direct chop technique, stop and chop technique, and divide and conquer. So these are the various techniques where fragmentation of the nucleus is done and then nucleus is emulsified and aspirated. After the nucleus is emulsified, then the remaining cortical matter is aspirated. But here we use an automated irrigation aspiration method to remove the cortex. And as the incision is small, foldable intraocular lens is injected into the bag and then is dyed. And after the IOL implantation, remaining viscoelastic substance is removed and subsequent injection is given and patching. This diagram shows the tapeworm steps. Here you can see the clear cornea or limbal nacellus is there, then side port entry is there. After that, viscoelastic substance is injected and CCC is done. And then echoemulsification is done. Here, divide and conquer technique is shown, where nucleus is fragmented into 4 pieces and then emulsify. After that, remaining cortical matter is removed by irrigation aspiration system. Here you can see the foldable intraocular lens is injected from the small incision. So it again unfolds in the anterior chamber of the or in the back when it is injected. So then we go for the comparison of the various techniques. So this table shows the comparisons of the ICC, ECC, SICS and equivalence. So ICC is not done nowadays, it's very rarely done in cases of dislocated lens where we have to remove the whole of the nucleus and capsule. ECC is the conventional technique of ICC, which is also rarely done nowadays because it has larger incision and post-operative astigmatism score can be done in 2 cases. Then SICS is done in majority of the cases. Generally, where holding is there, with more amount of surgeries are there. Case of CAMS, then thecal emulsification is preferred technique nowadays. So what is the principle for the ICC? This lens is removed completely with the anterior capsule. In ACC, anterior capsular axis is done, lens is removed and posterior capsule is left behind. It is same for the SICS also. But in thecal emulsification, we use the ultrasound energy to emulsify the nucleus. So in case of ICC, you cannot put the intraocular lens. So anesthesia is preferred is variable in all the techniques. But echoemulsification we can do the topical under topical anesthesia also. So approaches are different. Superior approach is in ICC, ECC and SICS is there, but in phaco emulsification we can do temporal or superior temporal. The size of the incision in ICC it is 10 to 12 millimeter mm size there. Then in ECC it is 8 to 10 millimeter. The SICS it is 5.5 to 6.5, and because your emulsification it is smallest, that is 2.8 to 2.2. So methods of lens delivery in ICC, lens is delivered by the cryo extraction technique or tumbling technique. In ECC, it is done by the counter pressure technique. And in SICS, it can be done by mixed expression technique, Blumenthal technique, or irrigating wire vectors techniques. Paper inspection, it is done by emulsification with the help of the titanium needle using ultrasound image. Then intraocular lens implantation. In ICC, it is difficult to put the posterior chamber intraocular lens because capsule is not there. So we have to put the anterior chamber intraocular lens or other types of intraocular lens like iris glass, scleral. VCC and SICS we put the rigid intraocular lenses in the posterior chamber. In the inspection, we use the foldable intraocular. Sutures are needed in ICC, ECC and SICS but not required in phaco emulsification. In SICS also, sutures are not required, but in case of wound leakage, we have to put sutures sometimes. The complications are more with the ICC, but other three techniques are complications are. What is post-operative astigmatism? See, in ICC it is more than 2 diopters. In case of ECC is 1 to 2 diopters. In SICS it is 1 diopter, and least is seen in phaco emulsification greater than 0.1. So visual rehabilitations, ECC and ICC are takes around 1.5 months or 2 months, 8 weeks. SICS takes 1 to 1.5 months, and phaco emulsification is 3 to 4 weeks. So what are the advantages of different techniques? So first is ICC. It is very easy to perform and does not need any microscope or any other advanced instruments. ECC, it has less complications as compared to ICC. SICS has such needs as compared to ECC and ICC, and complications also less. Phaco emulsification is sutureless and there is early rehabilitation or early recovery of the patient is there. So what are the disadvantages? In ICC, there is more complications like vitreous prolapse or vitreous related complication. Then PCL implantation is not possible. In ECC and SICS, sometimes sutures are there. ECC, each and every patient needs suturing, so more astigmatism is there, and recovery time also more. In SICS, astigmatism is there, which is more than the phaco emulsification, and also it has learning curve more as compared to other techniques. Regarding phaco emulsification, it is most expensive technique and requires more skillful and machine dependent. Also complications are more in case of inexperienced hands. So thank you for listening.